Hi, so I'm back, and if you're like actually like watching these, I commend you. I'm personally sick of them. I'm personally sick of like the storyline of all of this, as some of the other readers are. They've kind of been sick of just like the picking up on the karmic pretender, destiny swapper, or so they attempted energy. They are tired of. Girl, did I get it? Okay. I thought I just like got a sparks on the dog. But they're just ashes. They're kind of just sick of the I don't know. Young kids were a little distressed about the world and ideals that have been created for you. No, I feel like it's just such a stronghold. It's just such a battle. It's just such a war being fought and overcome. And so I'm going to just back up a little bit. The beginning part of this same, like, the same very last card of sort of the main part of this spread that I did, that I'm continuing. Like I said, the Jester of Gardens and the Queen of Winds flew out together. And so I read them as together as if it was like the same person or same character. But at the same time, this being the Divine Masculine read, it also could be two different women. I feel like, unfortunately for me, the kind I like have a whole, what do you call a house full of concubines? Why can't I think of it? I am personally feeling like a sad Jester girl today. Probably just because I'm discouraged, because I don't know whether it's my battery that's screwed up or my alternator or something more complicated. I don't know why I'm so worried. I've got a warranty. But when I was looking at these cards actually just now, I was kind of looking at the Judgment card and the way of it not necessarily having the positive upside down meaning. And then I was looking at this Jester of Gardens, which I feel like some of us older Divine Feminines, we actually look young, can look young, especially with like white clown makeup on, we would. But even so, like, that looks like a very young person. So I want to read it as the young energy as well. Because just like looking at the face, it's almost like she seems kind of sad that she's like not getting her way. And just like the way the ball is, it's almost like that ball's gonna have to be dropped. And it makes me feel sorry for her, because I feel like the judgment that's actually coming down, I don't know what the word on the streets is. I say to myself, and so I don't really know what's being talked about out there. I do know the energy of my twin flame, and sort of like can feel a bit of the, like, I don't know, humility. I would say embarrassment. But yeah, some of the humility is going through, and I don't know, things are different than they used to be. I feel like it used to be kind of where like a man could pick a very young woman and like somehow make that work out. And I feel like there still are like younger people in the world. It's like fewer and further between, but there still are some that are, they've had to grow up early and they weren't given everything that they wanted, and they had to grow up in tougher circumstances, and so they have like sometimes have a certain level of maturity to them, or, you know, I don't know, old soul versus new soul, or like what it is. But I just also had to like pull this back to sort of read it, the energy, as if it were two different actual like female That almost looks like a she male, a shim. Like it almost could be a shim too. Um, yeah, it's hard to tell. There's a lot of makeup on there, but I just had to sort of also read that this possible meaning could basically be, you know, like as it was earlier in the reading, and I don't know why it would be repeated and not change meanings, but like the reality of it is, even though like we're all ready for this, like this stuff to get turned around and to see things change for the better and see a new trend of things going down, we still have to, like, you know, be realistic as to what it really is going down. Like, stuff's easier said than done. And so, you know, not like hearing some stories where the masculine has broke free and broke away. And I feel like I've seen in my case just some like small keys or clues or indications that he has left the scene. As to how long, I don't know, and will he return, I don't know. And you know, sometimes it's just harder to break free of those like chains. I like, honestly, it's like a lot of, personally for me, a lot of this stuff has been told in my through a lot of different readers and stories. Like, they've got all of the, you know, like I've said before, they got a lot of the like tragedy and trauma and difficulties down in the readings, but they but I'm like waiting to see the happy ending of it. So, you know, although I do like believe in this stuff in a way, in a sense, to a degree, I feel like it's actually like goes both ways, and I definitely am aware that it is being used in some aspects to manipulate a story. And of course, if somebody's got money and they're paying another reader, especially if they're using stolen funds, then that energy is going to be attached to that money. But if they are paying in good money to a reader, you could understand why the story would possibly get flipped, you know what I mean? And no judgment on anybody there. You know, like, it's often several stories within a read, and you know, I feel like even though like as a masculine like goes in his head back and forth between, you know what I mean, like having the strength and courage to get up and go to the feminine, I feel like that can change a reading. And then as his energy changes and he's ready to do that, and then like it just gets to be a bit much and he's like putting it off till tomorrow, like we do with so many things, it can also often change the energy of things. But anyways, I do want to actually get through this particular read so I can get these cards put up and move on and do some other ones. This has been a long and extensive one, and sort of an experimental way of reading cards. I've done some sort of similar things back when, where I like sort of stacked different decks on top of each other, often without looking, and flipped them over and saw what they meant and stuff. But like this one, actually, I'm taking the time to look through the book list, because like I noticed with the one of these, as I was looking at, I don't know, one of these cards later in this next portion of this read, it actually was quite a bit different. Oh, it was the tower. I don't even know if the tower's out on this one. But in this Klimt booklet, it says basically under the tower, I don't know, it has it of like a refuge and omen and destruction of conventions. And yeah, definitely that is a meaning of it. But like the most popular one is like exposing secrets. I feel like the moon has a lot to do with that, but people are like, yeah, the tower's coming, you know what I mean, your stuff's getting blown up. And so anyways, it has stuff worded differently, and that is why I chose to actually like take the time to go through these booklets. But I just want to read this. Could indeed be, again, influenced by family, community, connections, friends, appearances, the way things appeared. I hate to say this, but oftentimes there are men that actually will choose younger women basically because they don't want to grow up. I'm sorry, it's a reality. Each gender's got its own weaknesses. Women are crazy because men make them that way, right? Anyways. So I feel like this actually still could be that younger energy. And I mentioned that in the beginning, that it could be read that way, where it is two different energies and two different people and two different choices, and the younger one versus the more mature one, and having chose the younger one first, learning lessons from that actually could have been something like, I feel like that relates where that was set up because of traditional things, family things, religious things, community things, appearances of things, this and that, and then, you know, or the way this jester put on this makeup and face and had this sort of like lively attitude where she actually like provided energy towards a masculine because of all of her vibrance and all of her you know, all of her that optimism is what I'm trying to say, that optimism that you have often as a younger person, and those like hopes and expectations, and they're not necessarily always like based on or grounded in reality. So, and then when reality hits, and to like a younger person that doesn't really know what it's like to be in a married life, when that actually like hits, they're like, you know, stuff happens, stuff goes down, stuff happens. You know, they kind of do their own thing, find themselves in their own situations, but basically, like, in this sense, stuff coming out, exposes happening, and so anyways, this could actually be younger energy. And then the masculine moving on to an entirely different person as well. So when I was looking at that with the Judgment in reverse, and not necessarily taking the reverse meaning to be like the positive meaning, reverse meaning of Judgment, but rather the like even more intense meaning of Judgment. Like Judgment reversed could also be like failing to learn your lessons from Judgment, and like say like you get found out for something, so you think you're gonna like lie about it, and then rather than just fessing up, telling the truth, deny till you die sort of a thing, which it's natural, like everyone wants to do that, right? But then you get caught lying too, so then it's like twice as bad sort of a thing. So I don't know, could also be that moving from a younger energy into a more stable, grounded, wise and experienced person. And it also could not even have anything to do with the divine feminine. It could actually be two karmics. This could be the ex. I feel like she'd be in the reverse though, even if she's not intended to be. I feel like time and, you know, I mean, like, I feel like they would have been happily married, happily ever after, if indeed they were like together for a couple decades and had like grown children and stuff. I feel like that they would be, you know, of course, naturally like hanging into something that isn't ideal, and you've been through like too much, sometimes just too much to come back from. And so yeah, naturally it's gonna mess with you, and the only way to really like get over that is to completely detach yourself of the situation and move on, you know. So I feel like that there could be a couple different ways to read the end of this anyways. And so, but anyways, I'm just continuing from here. And what I was saying before is that this is actually like the divine feminine as the wise leader of things. And, you know, maybe she's actually energetically putting a halt to things with her hands forward, like, you know, even like not realizing it. even not knowing it. It could be subconscious, like just knowing that the divine masculine still has work to do and still has things to face and still has things to tie up. And like, if not in contact, they might not necessarily know like where things are at in that aspect, and they would wish for things to be like cleared up so that they can come together and stuff, but it might not be the reality of things. So with the Nine of Pentacles, with it though, it's saying joy of the senses, exercising of power, and material satisfaction. And that's why I feel like it still could have something to do with past relationships and connections. Because like what we're going through now with the way things are changing, it's not necessarily like, I feel like it's going to end up being joyous. But I feel like we're in a stretching phase with change. And so I actually feel like the true divine feminine and true divine masculine connection, the true twin flame connection at this point in history is going to be a little more serious, and it's going to be a little more about work. And so like actually this in reverse would be conflicts, tiredness, excess, and weak health. So that's what makes me, again, think that this isn't necessarily a karmic, because even if you are doing hard work with a divine counterpart, it may be like physically tiring because you've gotten older and you've like worked hard that day and you've done a lot and you've, just approached a lot, but your strength is going to be renewed in that sense. Whereas if it's something that is dark and is not divinely ordained, it would turn this upside down, and it would lead to poor health. I feel like even though the divine masculine and divine feminine are working together, that it wouldn't end up in weak health. It would end up in strength. And actually, I feel like he'd probably sleep better at night, because it would be the kind of like exhausting energy that is actually productive and rewarding and fulfilling, and is more in line with what is going to leave a continued legacy and end his life out in a fulfilling and respectful way. It's that kind of work. And so it's actually the kind that's going to allow divine masculine to actually rest his head on his pillow and sleep well. And so and then we were looking at this Three of Cups card. It's interesting because it does seem like one is like, she looks like earth energy to me. She looks like a Virgo to me. And the other one's like, she looks like a humanoid. I don't know if these ones do so much. They almost look like, so it could be like three different aspects of the same soul here. Regardless, it is the divine feminine. I feel like this Three Cups in particular is the celebration of finally doing the right thing and joining with the right person. And so I don't know, like, because that seems like almost like robotic or AI or like a machine. Like, this seems, well, she's got the tree trunk bottom. I would say this looks like sort of like, it looks like copper. I wish I could think of what that's called, that metal where it's like swirled, silver and copper swirled together. It's like a Moncure. I don't know. It's got a pronunciation that is Asian or something. But I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It's pretty rarely used material because it's pretty spendy, and but it's really cool. I feel like maybe it was more popular like a decade or two ago. But anyways, yeah, it's kind of just interesting because where's the third cup? It's weird because it's like Oh yeah, so there's 3 here. So it's almost like this earthling is drinking from this machine head, scrap metal, robot. Anyways, for whatever it means, it looks like the hair is coming in to these and not so much into hers. Like I said, I studied this stuff like 25 years ago, so I don't necessarily know like what the art critique meetings would be of any of them anymore. And of course, like when you're going through art history, like you really only like look at a few works of each of the like unless that was like your actual major and you just got a whole degree in it, you're only going to look at a few works of each of each genre. But anyways, a lot of people don't necessarily like the meaning of the 3 of Cups. And I don't know, like these days, a lot of times there are like quite a few more failed marriages. If you're looking at it in the sense of a marriage or a party, a lot of times people will take this card and they'll be like, you're going to meet somebody at a party. When I look at the 3 of Cups, I more like feel like, I don't know, I like as somebody that took theology and actually got a degree in theology, I look at it as in the biblical sense of the marriage feast of the Lamb, which I brought up. But like in this one, it seems very like desolate in the background and sort of like very dystopian, and so it's tribulous to me. And that's what makes me think that actually it is the divine masculine and the divine feminine on their mission. And what like some of these like karmics don't seem to realize is what we're like, you know, what we're about to step into concerning things that are happening in our earth and about to go down, and that it's not going to be any sort of picnic mothering and fathering the next generations. It's going to be a lot of work, and it's going to be a lot of hard work, and it's going to be teaching, you know, kiddos how to survive and stuff. And so, you know, and I was describing that before the video shut off, is that basically that's what I feel like the mission of the divine feminine is to teach the next generations how to be practical, how to be less wasteful, how to be resourceful, you know, how to upcycle. I feel like definitely for sure some of my karmics are into that because it was something that I taught kids over 20 years ago. So I know that that's been an energy that's been mimicked in my case, especially in my particular situation. If that is a situation that does indeed manifest, I don't know, I'm about to take off, so who knows, something entirely else could. We see it on the titles. DF's is sick of waiting, and she's over it. Ready to move on and forget about it again, honestly. But anyways, I thought I would read that again, like to start this off in contrast of this. But like as you would see in the first video, there's actually I'm honestly kind of sick of this read, honestly, but I have to finish it. That's what I'm being told to do for whatever little nugget of whatever comes out of it. But I heard one of my like favorite readers. I actually heard 2 Cups. Once I picked this up, saw 2 Cups, but this is originally what's on the bottom of the deck. And I actually heard a definition of this being something that someone's waited for a very long time. This is why I think surrealism is kind of relevant now, because, you know, I was actually doing dystopian art 15 years ago. And, I don't know. It kind of like had a big influx, but I feel like it's slowly making its way around. Like, same thing with like cyberpunk. So also, it's a star card. But 2 wands, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Priestess. So basically my first original sort of meanings were, and then the other 2 cards underneath as I picked those up were Temperance and the Ace of Swords. Temperance in the reverse though. But I already talked about that. DF tired and sick of waiting, and she's over it all. This one is. Anyways, can't speak for anyone but myself. And yeah, Ace of Swords, new beginning, and like I was talking about, like the way things are communicated, a new beginning and a new type of authenticity. But anyways, if the Divine Masculine indeed goes forward to his twin flame, 2 of Wands, towards the Priestess in the upright. And that was the whole underlying theme of if he does that, what will happen. And I guess let me show you the 4 cards if you didn't see the first video. These were actually like, this is the extension of this read, whereas this is what, if he were to make his move and go towards Divine Feminine, I have 3 of Wands or 3 of Swords in reverse. He'll have Heartbreak in the reverse, and you can watch other previous reads connected to this one. The Tower is in the reverse, and this is actually Strength in the reverse, which I was surprised. I thought, like, looking at it, and I don't know all the numbers, I thought looking at it that it would be like the Tower, or not the Tower. I thought it was Judgment or Justice in the reverse, but it's not. It's actually Strength in the reverse. Again, we're tired. Tired. We got to get our strength up for what's to come, right? So anyways, and then Ace of Gardens with the 4 swords in the reverse and the 7 of Pentacles. Which this actually does, again, talk about like what I talked about in the last video of basically, last couple videos of looking at money in a different way. And, you know, 4 swords also is something that's like has to do with appearances. So not necessarily like a new start in money, not necessarily being something that's like, I don't know, flashy, materialistic, but rather something a little more practical, which I feel like, you know, I know in my sense, like I feel like the one that I've known as a twin flame, should he ever step up, like I feel like even though he comes from like that sort of a scene, and I've seen like, from what I've seen, like just small displays of that sort of, I don't know, culture. You can hear the tone of my voice, how much of a fan I am of it. But I actually really don't feel like that's truly him, even though he kind of gets swept up with those people a little bit. It has, but, and then, so yeah, if he chooses to go towards Divine Feminine in his actual twin flame, also we've got the Knight of Swords with the Lovers and the 4 of Cups, and the 9 of Gardens with the 5 of Cups, and again the Hierophant in the reverse. So there's kind of some confirmation on that. I feel like to have the Hierophant in the reverse and the 5 of Cups in reverse over the 9 of Gardens, that is going to be actually like really interesting part of things when I get into looking into that more, concerning what the creators of these decks had in mind when they put them together, and see what sort of like keywords come out, because that's exactly what I feel like is where things are sitting. And that if he takes what is left of the 5 of Cups, takes what's remaining and decides to actually go for it, and get out of his head and just do it, that I feel like, and I know that the 9 of Gardens will result, even though it's a big, huge step of faith, but anything done out of obedience. And then, so I don't know that this will happen this reading, but then actually like this row here on the left of the column. And so I did the main story, and that took a good like three reads. And then, so I'm going to do what should happen should he actually go towards his lady. And then this is actually like the influences so far. And this is actually like the karmic energy right here. And I feel like it either has to do with two of them, or two aspects of the karmic, or the karmic and another lover, or karmic and another very important influencing factor in her life. Like I said, I don't know the situation of all this. I just know what I've experienced and what I feel inside. And then also other influences having to do with like friends and community and stuff. So anyways, we'll see. Like I said, like they all say, take what resonates, if any of it does. So, all right. So the priestess in the Jeopardize. It's Jeopardize Tarot by Nino Jeopardize. Text by Steve Lucas. The priestess card in here. It has been encouraging though, because like some certain decks that I had and I've had for like, I don't know, 6 to 8 months or something, they would pick up a lot more karmic energy, and I feel like that's kind of been happening less and less. So hopefully that is a sign that Divine Masculine is actually stepping into authenticity more so. Are there a lot of eggs? A lot of eggs. Surrealism and the egg thing is like a big thing, and I don't know, look into that more yourself if you want to. So the priestess is channeling the depths of emotion and the deepest levels of the unconscious. The priestess and the divine feminine, she triggers him, doesn't she? She triggers the divine masculine, but you know, sometimes it sort of takes that to like grow and be challenged. And I feel like that's what the divine masculine actually needs, is challenge, not conflict, but challenge. And there is a big difference. So in contrast to the magician, whose focused consciousness can be seen to be more externally directed, also I feel like the magician often uses manipulation and stuff to achieve what they want is their outcome for their alchemy, whereas I feel like the priestess achieves a higher sense of things and taps in the divine more to alchemize in a more like universal sort of a way, if that makes sense. The priestess embodies intuition, mystery, and awareness of the inner world. This is no less active and should not be confused with passivity. Together with the card that immediately follows her, the Empress, she completes the archetype of woman. You know, that is something that's interesting, is because how it brings up should not be confused with passivity. And I feel like sometimes that's like sort of in itself can be sort of a manipulative method, like when it comes to like giving somebody the silent treatment, or I'm going to disengage so they think that I'm over them, because then they're going to know what they missed and then they're going to come running back, sort of a game. I haven't played a lot of these games in a long time because I've just been doing me, you know, and been over it for some time. But it's kind of funny because like really the thing about it is that they're still obsessing over that person. And so they really haven't let them go. They're probably just like sleeping around while regretting it, while being more heartbroken, while keeping the person in their mind and energy even more, you know, and then it doesn't let him go. There's nothing passive about it. So anyways, but there's also like that sort of balance of just being graceful and disengaging from the situation and giving somebody their space. And so I feel like on an energetic level, that other person, if they are in tune, they're going to know the difference, and they're going to be able to tap into the difference, and they're going to know whether somebody's truly released their energy or whether, you know, somebody's just trying to give them their space. And there's like definitely a difference. I feel like a magician would play those games, whereas a priestess would actually, like, out of a place of love, allow that counterpart their space to do what they feel like is right for themselves and make a decision based on their own like wishes and their own like leading and their own like without like trying to be some woman wearing the pants of things, you know what I mean? She's gonna like, you know, if it's in the divine's will, you know, like I'm just gonna like try to support him the best that I can from where I'm at. And you know, if he chooses to get with the program, then that's what he'll do, sort of a thing. And anyways, so the divinatory meaning of this priestess card is hidden knowledge or influences. And that's where like walking in faith through this and tapping in intuition and having patience, especially if it's been a long, difficult journey, is super key. And that's the difference. Like, you know, like the priestess is patient and she tries to like just work on herself and give things to the divine and like support the divine masculine like on a higher dimensional plane. And and just basically like stay strong, you know, whereas like a karmic or, you know, a false flame energy would actually like harness that magician energy to basically, I don't know, do spell work and like take items and obsess over them or whatever they would do. I don't know. Not get over them, like stay in heartbreak. I don't know, whatever. But anyways, looking inward to find an answer, something that is concealed, unconscious action. Alternatively, this card can stand for inaction, withdrawal, or passivity. Man, I'm having a tough time pronouncing things. My head's like ringing really, really, really badly. Especially starts to ring as I say things that are a little more triggering. So the Knight of Pentacles in the surreal is, you might have to excuse me, my dog might need to be let out. It's tough. He's constantly, like, his potty thing is rough at 17. And he's too awesome for me to put a diaper on him. And he's just, like, too healthy for me to put him down. It's, like, rough. It's also kind of keeping me in a place. I feel like the divine keeping me in a place of, like, giving this divine masculine yet another chance. Step it up. You've had how many chances now? What the shit, man? Okay. So the Knight of Pentacles, and I did hear the meaning from one person that's really picked up on this for over 2 years now, picked up on these energies and this story, and like had a lot of details like geographical and stuff concerning us. But she said it the meaning of it can be something coming in that has taken a really, really long time to come in. And I don't know why I can't find this. I really need to go get my battery checked and my alternator checked. Oh, and the little guy's up. So I don't know. I'm going to try to get... I'm not even through the bottom of the deck. Then I got 4 more sets of cards after that. All right, Pentacles, here we are. So the Knave... No, we're at the Knight. The Knight of Pentacles. The patience to wait for... So she must have been talking... Was she talking about the Page of Pentacles? Yeah. Why did I think that was the Page of Pentacles? Probably because he's on a grasshopper, not a real horse. Oh, I'm going to read them both in here. The Page of Pentacles, an impulse that starts from deep down and creates the world following its inner vision, sensuality. And then the Knight of Pentacles being the patience. So I guess Knight of Pentacles is something waited for some time. The patience to wait for the right rhythms of the creative process. Divine timing can come into play here. But when divine timing comes and divine timing's here, then it's like, it's your like last chance to act. Hold your, like, act now, or speak now, or forever hold your peace. I don't know. That was rough to say. Visionary ability to see other horizons, other possible worlds. Okay, so that also can be a clue as to divine masculine moving on to a whole new reality. Sorry, I was just waiting to see if that pissed somebody off. He was messing with me. Oh boy. And then the Two of Wands. Being. Equilibrium, hope, healing, and projects. Okay. So, in this sense, from these meanings, I would gather that it does seem that Divine Masculine is moving forward to his healing twin, the Priestess. Hi, buddy. To have a good nap. All right. Who could very well be a star here, huh? I don't know. We shall see the real star. But, yeah. This is also interesting, too, because let me just tell you something. I can say this for myself. This one, like when I lifted these bottom of the decks up, these are what I saw. The Star, the Temperance in reverse, and the Ace of Swords. But this is what I'm getting here. That's all I'm saying. Is he doesn't... Sorry, this is made for one card, so... And thicker cards. See these here? They're like the blue men. So basically, what's going to happen if this doesn't happen, if he doesn't take his chance? She is going to go find her actual star energy on her very own. And she's going to go find herself a gig. She's taken off to go gig out. Okay, because she's really tired of her life and her destiny and her dreams and her talents and her skills being wasted and benefiting others. So she may just be painting herself blue, working on her ribbon dancing act, and getting out of here. And in that sense, you're probably never going to have a chance. Just saying. Just the ultimate reality of it. Divine Masculine. For whatever that is worth to you. All right, then. So, after those bottom of the decks, like I said, I've got the Three of Swords. And like I talked about in the very first video when I went through the overview of this, if Divine Masculine does go to his Divine Feminine, I can guarantee you, and I know that this is what's going to happen because it's what's right, that it's going to mean it's going to mean renewal for his heart. It's going to be like that soaring on the wings of eagles. Okay, I don't know, is there a reason I said that way? Damn it. See, this is why I had to get through this read. It's very problematic, and now that the grandson's back, it's already been messed up once today. So, I've got the Tower in the reverse, over heartbreak in the reverse, heartbreak overcome. And maybe, I mean, that's the thing about things, is that stuff can be going on in the background, and you may not know it, or you may want to deny that it's happening, and it may be causing heartbreak all the same. Because if you're really truly connected to somebody, you're gonna know. You're gonna know deep down inside that something is not right. You're gonna know if somebody else is connecting with somebody else. You just are. It's just a reality. Things, if you're that connected to somebody, you're gonna know if they actually like step out and cheat. Just saying. And so I've got heartbreak in the reverse, but it's also along with the Tower in the reverse. So, you know, of course you could look at these. You see, I read my reverse cards generally like sort of like the opposite of what the meaning is, but some people like take it to mean even worse, like beyond heartbreak, which I don't even know what that is. More terrible heartbreak, like heartbreak you never overcome. I don't know. And the Tower in the reverse being like worse than the Tower in the reverse. I look at these towers that we have today, as the tower. And the thing about these towers that we have today in this 5G system is it can be good. It can all be good or bad depending on whose hands it's in. I feel like there is some good stuff coming out of these towers. I'm not a big personal fan of so many EMFs and like the other things that we have to do to counteract that, which I don't feel are the best for people's healths. More towers, more trails. It's not good in the mind of an earth mama. Just not good. Turning the earth into a microwave, just not good. But I feel like for all of the hacking and, you know, the propensity to hack much more, commit much more fraud, they're also actually busting it up and being able to, criminals are having a harder time hiding, basically. So, you know, also like just connecting the alien world to the earthlings. It's I mean, like, you know, that can be good or bad. There's good and bad in every realm. There's good mermaids, there's bad mermaids. All right, anyways, 3 of Wands, 3 of Swords. So there seems like there's a whole lot of swords and a whole lot of cups, and I'm seeing a good amount, like the Klimt has tons of pentacles coming out of it. But as far as King and Queen, it's focusing mostly on communication and love in this read. And I feel like that's pretty fitting, like, rather than taking them. I mean, I sometimes read the signs, but I feel like some of us, we're not sure of our actual regular birth date. And not only that, like, everybody, if you've gotten your birth chart, you have almost every zodiac sign. You know, you've got a good majority of them, 2/3 of them. If you have repeating zodiac signs, you're still going to have, like, probably a good 2/3 to 3/4 of all the zodiac signs, you know what I'm saying? And so I don't necessarily like use, and then, you know, like you have to like get into astrology more to know which zodiac sign is in which moon placement. And so like I don't necessarily like use the zodiac sign so much as the energies of them and the elements more so. And so, you know, of course this reading could definitely be about somebody of Earth, or there's definitely this King of Fire in the reverse. That's consistent. And there's also a Queen of Fire that's consistent. So, and yeah. And the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse, so there's also that. But anyways, you know, like I said, for the general energy of this reading, it seems to be more so focused on love and communication more than anything, you know. So, which, like I said, that's pretty fitting, I feel like. So the 3 of Wands in the reverse, heartbreak of loss or separation, as we know, learning a painful truth, disappointment or betrayal by another, and misplaced trust. So actually I do feel like, especially in the first phase of this whole story, that there was a lot of that was hidden. So I feel like the Tower being in the reverse can oftentimes mean, of course, secrets, things being covered up, things not being exposed, heartbreak not necessarily happening because the truth wasn't known. And so, you know, we'll see if these 4 cards here actually, you know, kind of come in sequence. Hi.